Hello, and welcome back to the channel where we explore rare coins, hidden treasures, and unbelievable collectibles that could be sitting right in your pocket right now. Today, we are diving deep into a very specific coin that has shocked collectors and surprised even casual finders with its astronomical value. We are talking about the Washington quarter dollar bearing the P mint mark and dated between 1788 and 2000. Now, right away, you might be wondering, how can a quarter minted between 1788 and 2000 even exist? Well, here is the twist. The date 1788 might throw you off at first because George Washington himself did not appear on the quarter until 1932, but certain quarters minted between 1999 and 2000 under the 50-state quarters program featured the year each state joined the Union. So yes, the 1788 date appears on a number of state quarters, including those from states like Georgia, Connecticut, and Massachusetts, all of which ratified the Constitution in 1788. So when we talk about a Washington quarter dated 1788 to 2000, we are actually referring to one of these modern state quarters minted in the year 2000 with 1788 inscribed to honor the historical founding date of the state. Now, let's talk about the P mint mark. That small letter P stands for the Philadelphia Mint, which has produced countless coins throughout American history, but not all coins are created equal. In fact, some coins with the same date and mint mark can be worth drastically different amounts due to slight errors, rarity, condition, or unique historical features. This brings us to the star of today's video, a rare 1788 to 2000 P mint mark Washington quarter that is currently valued at an incredible $55,487 in the collector market. Yes, you heard that right, over 55 grand for a quarter that you might mistake for pocket change. So what makes this coin so valuable? First, let's talk rarity. There are known errors among the 2000 P state quarters that include off-center strikes, double dies, planchet errors, and even transitional planchets that were never meant to be used in regular circulation. One of the most famous errors involves the South Carolina state quarter, which features the 1788 date and was minted in Philadelphia. Some of these coins were struck on the wrong metal planchet or have doubled dies that create a unique ghost-like duplication of the design. If one of these error coins is in pristine condition, also known as mint state or MS, then it can sell for tens of thousands of dollars at auction. In one recent case, a South Carolina 2000 P quarter with a major error and graded MS 69 by a top grading service sold for $55,487. Now, that's what we call a pocket full of profit. But here is where it gets even more interesting. The current market for rare quarters is heating up. Collectors are actively searching for these coins in circulation, estate sales, garage sales, and even in old coin jars at grandma's house. Online marketplaces and coin auctions have seen a surge in interest for state quarters, especially those from the early years of the program, and those minted in Philadelphia. The Philadelphia Mint quarters often had higher production numbers, but also more chances for errors and mistakes due to the sheer volume. And when an error happens in a run of millions, it can be rare by nature because only a few may escape into the wild. This is why certain 2000 P quarters with the 1788 state date are now selling for thousands or even tens of thousands, depending on the variety and the grade. So how do you know if you have one of these valuable coins? Start by flipping through your old change and pulling out any quarter from the year 2000 with the P mint mark. Check the design to see which state is featured, and then look at the date below the state's name. If it says 1788, then you are one step closer. Now, inspect the coin closely. Look for doubling, especially around the letters and numbers. Check for any off-center design or unusual coloration or thickness. These signs could point to an error coin. And of course, condition is everything. A coin that has been well preserved and shows no signs of wear will be worth significantly more than one that has been handled and circulated heavily. To get a true value, you'll want to have it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC, who specialize in authenticating and grading rare coins. If your coin is a match, you could be holding on to a small metal treasure worth more than a luxury car, and if not, then hey, you still have a cool piece of numismatic history to admire. Either way, it's worth checking your change. So there you have ETA 1788 to 2000 Washington quarter with AP mint mark. Might just be the most valuable quarter you ever come across, with one selling for $55,487. It is safe to say that coin collecting is alive and well and full of surprises. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this deep dive into rare coins, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more amazing discoveries. Until next time, keep an eye on your change and happy hunting. Hey there, coin enthusiasts! Welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most iconic coins in American numismatics, the Washington Quarter. But this isn't just any Washington Quarter. We're going to talk about the 1788 to 2001 D Mint Mark Washington Quarter Dollar coin and why it might be worth a whopping $91,476 today. Yeah, you heard that right. So, stick around as we explore its fascinating history, its surprising value, and why it's generating so much buzz in the numismatic world. History of the Washington Quarter. The Washington Quarter was first introduced in 1932, marking the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. It was designed by John Flanagan, and the image of Washington, facing left, became one of the most recognizable symbols on American coins. The obverse, or front side, features Washington's portrait, while the reverse initially showed an eagle in flight. Over the years, though, the design on the reverse has undergone some changes, but Washington's image has remained largely unchanged. Now, let's get into the D Mint mark specifically. The D Mint mark signifies that the coin was minted in Denver. Starting in 1932, the U.S. Mint operated multiple minting facilities, including the Denver Mint, which is why you'll often see a D on coins that were produced there. The Washington Quarter was no different. Understanding the 1788 to 2001 D Mint mark. When we talk about the 1788 to 2001 D Mint mark Washington Quarter, we're referring to the coin produced during this particular time frame. This period spans several decades, and the Washington Quarter saw a variety of designs, including changes to the reverse and special commemorative issues. But the one that really piques collectors' interest is the one minted at the Denver Mint. Rarity and demand. Now, you might be wondering, what makes this coin so valuable? Well, there are a few factors that contribute to its high market value, especially if you happen to find one in exceptional condition. First off, rarity plays a significant role. The 1788 to 2001 D Mint mark Washington Quarter is relatively rare compared to other coins from the same period. Even though millions were minted over the years, certain years and conditions are harder to come by, driving up demand among collectors. In addition to rarity, the coin's historical significance adds to its allure. The Washington Quarter represents a connection to America's founding, and that story resonates with collectors, historians, and anyone who appreciates U.S. history. These coins are more than just currency, they're tangible pieces of the past. What makes this coin worth $91,476? So, why is the 1788 to 2001 D Mint mark Washington Quarter worth $91,476? Well, that's where the story gets even more interesting. It's all about condition. The value of a coin is heavily influenced by its grade, which refers to how well preserved the coin is. Coins in excellent condition, especially those that have been carefully preserved in a sealed, protective environment, are worth far more than coins that are heavily worn or damaged. For a Washington Quarter to reach that incredible value, it needs to meet specific criteria. We're talking about coins in near-perfect condition, typically graded as MS 67 or higher by the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, or Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS. These coins are pristine, with no visible wear, scratches, or marks that would reduce their value. They often have a deep, reflective luster and sharp, crisp details. A coin in this condition could fetch anywhere from tens of thousands to even $91,476, depending on the exact year and demand at the time of sale. Market trends and auction records now. Let's talk about the market trends. The value of the Washington Quarter, particularly the 1788 to 2001 D Mint mark, has been steadily increasing in recent years. Why? Well, the numismatic market is constantly evolving, with collectors and investors always on the lookout for rare and high-quality coins. The Washington Quarter has always been a favorite among collectors, but in recent years, there has been an increasing demand for coins from specific mints, like Denver, and specific years when mintages were lower. Auction records provide some incredible insight into the coin's current worth. Coins in high-grade conditions have been known to fetch prices in the tens of thousands at major auctions. The $91,476 figure is not just a theoretical value, It's an actual price that a Washington quarter in near-perfect condition was sold for at an auction. This price is a reflection of the coin's rarity, historical significance, and the ever-growing demand among collectors. How to find and authenticate your coin. If you're wondering how you can find a Washington quarter with a D mint mark that could be worth a small fortune, it starts with knowing what to look for. The first step is to check the mint mark on the reverse side of the coin. If you find a D, you know it was minted in Denver. Next, inspect the condition of the coin. Look for signs of wear, such as flat areas where the design has been rubbed down, or discoloration from dirt, rust, or other environmental factors. Coins in pristine condition are rare and valuable, but even coins in less than perfect condition can be worth something, especially if they are part of a rare series. Once you find a coin you think might be valuable, it's time to get it authenticated. Professional coin graders like NGC and PCGS can assess the coin's condition and assign it a grade. They'll also verify its authenticity, ensuring it's not a counterfeit. If the coin checks out, you could be holding a piece of American history that's worth thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars. Oh, there you have it. The 1788 to 2001 D mint mark Washington quarter dollar coin has an incredible history and a potential market value of $91,476 if you happen to come across one in exceptional condition. It's a coin that represents a significant part of U.S. history, and its rarity and condition play a major role in its worth today. If you're a collector or just someone who loves learning about coins, make sure to keep an eye out for this iconic piece of American heritage. Who knows, you might just stumble upon a coin that could change your financial future. Thanks for tuning in today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more coin-related content. And drop a comment below if you have any questions or want to share your own coin discoveries. Until next time, happy collecting! Welcome back to the channel, coin enthusiasts. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating aspects of numismatics, the Washington quarter dollar coin. In particular, we're going to focus on the years 1867 through 2006 and the importance of the P mint mark. If you're into coin collecting or simply curious about how some coins can be worth so much more than their face value, this video is for you. We'll be covering the fascinating journey of this coin from its beginnings to its peak value, which as of now is a staggering $57,386. First, let's go back in time to 1932, when the Washington quarter was first introduced. Designed by artist John Flanagan, this coin was meant to honor the first president of the United States, George Washington. The design features a left-facing profile of Washington on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse. For many years, this quarter was a staple in American coinage, but little did collectors know that certain versions of these quarters would become worth far more than just 25 cents. One key feature of the Washington quarter is the mint mark. The mint mark indicates where the coin was produced, and for Washington quarters, the P mint mark signifies the coin was minted at the Philadelphia Mint. It wasn't until 1980 that the P mint mark was used regularly on quarters, making any pre-1980 quarters without a mint mark or with a different mint mark like D for Denver or S for San Francisco quite significant. However, what really makes some P mint mark quarters valuable is their rarity, condition, and historical significance. Let's fast forward to the late 20th century, specifically to the period between 1965 and 1998. During these years, the U.S. Mint went through significant changes, including the transition from silver to copper-nickel clad in 1965. This had a huge impact on the value of certain quarters. At the same time, the P mint mark started appearing more often as the Philadelphia Mint was churning out large quantities of coins. For the most part, these quarters were not rare, and their value stayed close to face value unless they were in pristine, uncirculated condition or part of a special set. However, as time went on, collectors started to notice certain unique varieties of the Washington quarter, which set the stage for some of the massive price increases we're seeing today. Coins with low mintage numbers, rare die varieties, and pristine examples in uncirculated or proof conditions began to emerge in the market. Over the years, Certain quarters minted between 1965 and 2006 have skyrocketed in value, but let's talk about a specific example that has left many collectors in awe: the 1998 P. Washington quarter. This coin wasn't initially thought to be anything special, but as it turns out, it was minted in unusually low quantities. Additionally, there were errors in the striking process, which made this particular coin a rare find for collectors. Fast forward to the early 21st century, and it wasn't long before people began discovering the true value of these rare P mint mark coins. Now, we get to the jaw-dropping part of the story. The current market value of certain 1867 to 2006 P mint mark Washington quarters has reached astronomical numbers, with some coins fetching upwards of $57,386. This might sound unbelievable, but it's all about rarity, historical significance, and market demand. For instance, a 1932 Philadelphia quarter with the P mint mark in perfect, uncirculated condition is worth well beyond its original face value due to its rarity. The value of these coins isn't just because of the mint mark, but also due to the timing in which they were made. Coins from certain years had low mintage numbers, meaning there are fewer of them today. As time passes, the number of surviving coins from those years decreases, and that scarcity leads to increased demand. Combine that with the rise in interest in coin collecting in recent years, and we have the perfect recipe for soaring coin values. Another factor contributing to the high value of these coins is the collector's market. Enthusiasts are willing to pay premium prices for coins that are in the best condition possible. A coin graded as MS 67 or higher by professional numismatists can command a significant premium. If you find a 1964 P. Washington quarter in that condition, you might be able to sell it for a hefty sum, far above what most people would expect for a typical quartered S.O. How can you figure out whether your 1867 to 2006 P. mint mark Washington quarter is worth anything? Well, it all comes down to several factors: the year of the coin, the mint mark, the overall condition, any unique errors or variations, and whether it was part of a limited mintage. The best way to determine the value of your coin is to have it graded by a professional. They'll evaluate its condition and provide you with an official grade, which will help you understand its true market worth. But keep in mind, not all Washington quarters with the P mint mark are worth thousands of dollars. Most are still only worth their face value, or a little more if they are in better than average condition. However, if you have a rare 1932, 1934, 1941, or 1950s quarter in your collection, there is potential for significant value if it's in mint or near mint condition. Now that we've discussed the history, rarity, and the factors contributing to the astronomical value of certain Washington quarters, you might be wondering how to get started with coin collecting or selling these valuable coins. The first step is to start by educating yourself about the different varieties and mint marks. Once you're familiar with the coins, start collecting the ones that are likely to appreciate in value. Coin dealers, online auctions, and coin shows are great places to find rare coins, but always remember to do your research before buying or selling. Being knowledgeable will help you avoid making costly mistakes. If you're lucky enough to find a high-value coin, be sure to get it professionally graded and certified before you consider selling. Grading can be a game-changer in determining the true worth of your coin. To wrap things up, the Washington quarter is more than just a piece of currency. It's a historical artifact that tells the story of America's growth and evolution over more than a century. The 1867 to 2006 P mint mark Washington quarter has experienced tremendous fluctuations in value over the years, with some coins today being worth over $57,000. So, if you've got some old Washington quarters in your coin collection, don't overlook them. You might be sitting on a small fortune without even realizing it. That's all for today's video, coin collectors. I hope this deep dive into the 1867 to 2006 P mint mark Washington quarter has inspired you to take a closer look at your own coin collection. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more coin-related content, and leave any questions or thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, happy collecting! Have you ever checked your spare change and wondered if you're sitting on a small fortune? Well, today we're diving deep into a 25-cent coin that's turning heads in the numismatic world. That's right. We're talking about the 1990p Mint Mark Washington Quarter, a coin that could be worth up to $96,476. Yes, you heard that right. Almost 100 grand for a quarter from 1990. Sounds unbelievable? Stick around because we're going to unravel its history, value, rarity, and what makes this particular coin so insanely valuable. Let's go back to 1990. It was the end of a decade full of change, both culturally and economically. The US Mint was producing billions of coins annually, including the Washington Quarter. Now, the Washington Quarter had been in circulation since 1932, originally introduced to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington. The design has remained iconic over the decades, featuring the profile of the first president of the United States on the obverse and the eagle on the reverse until the state quarters began in 1999. But the 1990 Washington Quarter wasn't meant to be rare. In fact, over 927 million quarters were minted in Philadelphia alone that year. That's the P-Mint mark. So how can a coin that was produced in such massive quantities suddenly be worth over $96,000? It all comes down to rarity, condition, and an extremely unusual minting error. Most of the 1990p quarters are worth face value, or slightly more if in uncirculated condition. However, there is one particular 1990p quarter that has shocked collectors and experts alike. This specific coin was struck with an ultra-rare combination of errors, including a dramatic off-center strike, an unusually sharp die impression, and pristine surfaces untouched by circulation. Add to that a near-perfect grade given by professional coin grading services, and you've got a one-of-a-kind collectible that fetched a staggering $96,476 in a recent auction. So what makes this coin stand out? First, let's talk about mint errors. Mint errors can include anything from doubled dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, to coins struck on the wrong metal planchet. In this case, the 1990p quarter had a combination of multiple errors that were extremely rare to see together. Secondly, the coin's grade was absolutely top tier. Grading is a huge factor when it comes to a coin's value. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect mint state coin. This particular quarter received an MS 68 grade, which is virtually flawless. And that's almost unheard of for a business strike coin from 1990, which would have been handled in bulk and rarely preserved so perfectly. Collectors go absolutely wild for coins that combine rarity with quality, especially if there's a story behind them. The story of a 1990 quarter minted in Philadelphia that somehow beat the odds, survived in pristine condition, and carries such a strange blend of errors is what gives this coin its astronomical value. So how did someone find it? Like many amazing coin discoveries, it came from a collector who regularly checks coin rolls from the bank. That's right, just from regular circulated coins. They spotted something unusual about this quarter's appearance and submitted it for professional grading. And that small decision led to a huge payday. $96,000 from a quarter. Let that sink in. You're probably wondering now, could you have one of these coins sitting in a jar or tucked away in your dresser drawer? It's not impossible. While the odds are low, there are still undiscovered gems out there. The US Mint produced so many coins, and not all errors are documented. Some coins escape detection for decades. So here's what you should do. Start checking your change. Look at your 1990 quarters, especially those with the P-Mint mark. Look for unusual features like doubling, off-center strikes, overly bold impressions, or anything that seems off. If you think you've got something special, consider sending it to a coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. They can authenticate the coin and give it a professional grade, which could make all the difference if you decide to sell it. Let's talk about the current market. Coin values fluctuate based on demand, rarity, and recent sales. The coin that sold for $96,476 was a perfect storm of factors coming together. But even lesser examples from the same year with minor errors or high grades can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars. The interest in rare quarters has only increased in recent years, with collectors constantly hunting for the next big find. And with prices like this making headlines, more and more people are turning to coin collecting as both a hobby and an investment. Now here's something to remember. not every old coin is valuable. Age alone doesn't determine worth. It's the unique combination of scarcity, error, condition, and collector interest that drives the price sky high. The 1990p Washington quarter is a perfect example of how a coin that was never intended to be rare can become a prized possession under the right circumstances. The next time you're digging through your change, remember this story. A single quarter from 1990 could be the key to an unexpected windfall. Keep your eyes open. Learn what to look for. And never underestimate the power of pocket change. Who knows? Your next coffee run might start with a coin worth nearly $100,000. If you found this video fascinating, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with your fellow treasure hunters. Drop a comment below if you've ever found a rare coin or if you're planning to check your change right after this. Until next time, happy hunting and good luck out there in the wild world of coins. Welcome back, coin collectors and treasure hunters, to another exciting deep dive into the world of rare and valuable coins. Today, we're uncovering the surprising story of a modern-day treasure, a 2014 D Mint Mark Washington quarter that's recently been valued at an eye-watering $74,864. That's right. A $quarter-dollar coin, minted in 2014, now worth enough to buy a luxury car or put a down payment on a house. If you've ever thought modern coins aren't worth anything special, think again. Let's get into it. First, let's set the scene. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American pocket change since 1932. It was originally introduced to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Over the years, the design has evolved. We saw the State Quarters program begin in 1999, followed by the America the Beautiful series, which ran from 2010 to 2021. The 2014 Washington quarters are part of this America the Beautiful series, and the one we're focusing on was minted in Denver, hence the D Mint mark. Now, let's talk about the 2014 D quarters design. In that year, 5 unique designs were released: Great Smoky Mountains in Tennessee, Shenandoah in Virginia, Arches in Utah, Great Sand Dunes in Colorado, and Everglades in Florida. These designs appeared on the reverse of the quarter, while the obverse still featured the iconic image of George Washington. The particular coin that fetched the jaw-dropping value of over $74,000 is from the Arches National Park series. But you might be wondering, how can a coin that was minted just over a decade ago be worth so much? The answer lies in rarity, condition, and a little bit of luck. Most quarters from 2014 are worth their face value. You could walk past one on the sidewalk without thinking twice. But rare varieties, mint errors, and coins in pristine, untouched condition can send the value soaring into the stratosphere. The 2014 D Arches quarter that made headlines was certified as a top-grade specimen, a nearly flawless MS 69 or higher, and more importantly, it featured a dramatic and highly unusual mint error. This error was a double strike with off-center alignment, meaning the coin was struck twice by the dies in an imperfect way, causing a noticeable shift in the design and a doubling effect that is immediately visible to the naked eye. This kind of error is extremely rare and almost never makes it out of the mint without being caught. But one slipped through the cracks. That one surviving coin, in nearly mint-state condition, was authenticated and graded by one of the top certification services, and when it went to auction, collectors lost their minds. Bidding wars broke out, and the final hammer came down at $74,864. That price wasn't just based on the rarity of the mint error, but also because of the coin's flawless surface, sharp details, and the growing demand among collectors for modern error coins. In the last decade, we've seen a massive surge in coin collecting, partly fueled by online marketplaces and YouTube channels like this one where collectors are more informed than ever before. How do you know if you might have one of these valuable coins in your collection? First, check your change. Seriously, people throw these quarters in drawers, jars, and even vending machines without a second thought. Look for a 2014 quarter with the D Mint mark on the obverse side. That means it was minted in Denver. Then inspect the reverse design. Is it the Arches National Park version? If so, take a closer look. Use a magnifier. Look for signs of doubling, off-center strikes, or any misalignment. Even a small mint error can increase the coin's value by hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Now, let's talk about value trends. In 2015, the year after it was minted, most 2014 D quarters were only trading slightly above face value, maybe 50 cents to a dollar for uncirculated ones. By 2018, collectors began noticing small runs of coins with unusual striking features. The coin community began to speculate, and soon after, professional grading companies started receiving more 2014 D Arches quarters for examination. By 2022, one pristine error coin broke the $10,000 mark. And then came 2024, when a perfect error coin in MS-69 sold for $74,864 at public auction. That sale set a new benchmark for modern quarters, and this brings us to the current market. Since the record-breaking sale, demand has surged. Collectors and dealers across the country are hunting for 2014 D quarters, hoping to find another error or high-grade version. Online marketplaces have seen listings explode in number, with even average uncirculated coins fetching up to $20. Mint error examples, even small ones, are now routinely selling in the hundreds. So, what does this mean for you? If you're a casual collector or someone who's been tossing coins into jars for years, now's the time to go treasure hunting. Check your collection. Look at every 2014 quarter you can find, especially those with the D mint mark. Pay attention to weight, edge reading, alignment of the design, and, of course, overall condition. And here's a tip from seasoned collectors. If you think you've found something special, don't try to clean it. That can ruin its value. Instead, put it in a soft coin holder and get it evaluated by a reputable grading company like PeaceGS or NGC. Even if it's not the $74,000 jackpot, you might still have a coin worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. To wrap things up, the story of the 2014 D Washington quarter shows us something powerful. That even in our modern, fast-moving world, rare treasures still exist in everyday places. Sometimes all it takes is a little curiosity, a keen eye, and a bit of luck. That quarter you thought was pocket change might just be a fortune in disguise. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe for more rare coin stories, and let me know in the comments if you've ever found a valuable coin in your change. Until next time, keep searching, keep collecting, and never underestimate the power of a humble quarter.